Welcome to our Western Canadian Reason webinar series. Our webinars are free to attend, as you all know, but we are a volunteer-run group, so we rely on community support to keep our events going. You can donate any amount by scanning the QR code on your screen or visiting RockyMountainAtheist.ca. A quick disclaimer, the views and opinions expressed by speakers and audience members during this event are their own, and they do not reflect the official policies, positions, or views of the Rocky Mountain Atheists. We are an inclusive community of atheists, humanists, skeptics, and secular freethinkers, but everyone is welcome, of course, and we have a few guidelines for the community. Respect all participants and viewpoints. Keep comments and questions on topic. Discussion is encouraged. Civility is required, please. We've never had disruption, so let's keep it that way, right? We have a Q&A at the end of the event. So use the hand-raising icon under reactions to start a question. Wait until you're called to unmute yourself before speaking, and keep questions concise and relevant to the topic. Our speaker tonight is Berke Topcuoglu, and I hope I've said it as close to the right one as possible. He's an activist, refugee, a critical thinker, and he'll be talking about his experience from faith to freedom, his journey from Turkey to Canada. I'll stop sharing now so that Berke can take control.
Thank you.
You have the audience.
Thank you.
Hello, audience.
Hello, Vincent.
All right. Does everyone see my presentation? All good?
Yes. Yep. It's all good.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So I checked the attendee list, and looks like my cousins from Turkey are not here. So it looks like this will be a peaceful evening. Before I begin, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to Helio for organizing this webinar and for inviting me to share my story. I really appreciate you creating spaces like this, where conversations like mine are even possible. And she's not here tonight, but I also want to thank you to Jenny. Being welcome to this group has meant more to me than I can really put into words. For a long time, I didn't have a place where I could speak freely without fear. This group gave me that. Just knowing I can be honest here without having to filter myself really has made a huge difference in my life. And also, I want to thank you to everyone that came here tonight for listening and for being part of a community like this. I mean, it's 7 p.m. and probably most of you guys have work today or have children, or simply you could just relax and watch something on TV. But instead you come here to listen to my story. So I really appreciate it. I really thankful to you guys. Islam religion, sorry, Islam religion is not something that you can really discuss about or criticize, especially if you come from a Islam-dominant country like Turkey. I remember setting up a booth last year at Lilac Festival, and our booth happened to be next to the church. I mean, we didn't really choose that space, but it was kind of assigned to us. So like in the morning, I was kind of terrified, to be honest. I was like asking myself, what if anyone tells anything, right? What if someone do something to us in the festival. But then, and then I think that, like, I'm in Canada. Probably everything will be okay. So the event started. It was really beautiful. We handed so many cards. So many people stopped to our booth, got information. Even I met someone, he's in our group right now. So he later joined to our group. So yeah, it was really peaceful event. But what I'm trying to say is if we opened a booth like that in Başakşehir, where I come from, next to a mosque, probably we would last like 30 minutes. So tonight I just want to tell my story, honestly. It won't be a super exciting story. It's more personal than dramatic. It's about my family, the environment I grew up into, and my psychology, and how I slowly moved away from the religion, and how that shaped me as who I am today. And thank you for being patient with me. And there will be some sensitive topics. The questions I asked about my own religion and reasons I moved away from. I mean, I can just say that I'm an atheist, or like there is no data or proof that God exists, or I can just say, no, I don't believe in miracles such as moon being split in half, or Muhammad rode a creature to heaven, or a virgin gave birth. But instead, I wanted you guys to see how I'm thinking and feeling about the religion I was born into, and why it's not compatible with my values. Also, saying this shouldn't offend anyone, just like so many people thinking that atheist values or secularism or humanism are not compatible with Islam. So it's like vice versa. So also one more thing lastly before I begin. These are my personal questions and reflections. Helio mentions in before we start, but I am not representing Berke Mountain atheists as a whole, and I'm not claiming this is how everyone views Islam. This is simply my own journey. So my name is Berke Topcuoglu. I was born in Istanbul, Turkey, and I grew up in a neighborhood called Başakşehir. Before I get into my own story, I think it would be nice to give a little bit of context about early Turkey. So after the collapse of Ottoman Empire, modern Turkey was founded as a secular republic under Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. Actually, here is a tattoo of him, the signature of him. He is someone that I truly admire. So the idea was simple. Religion and the state should be separate, not to attack anyone or anyone's belief, but protect people from being controlled by it. So he did many reforms. Women were given right to vote. Actually, Turkey is one of the countries that gave women to vote very early on. Like I think even before France. Also, religious courts were abolished. Education became science-based. We were using Arabic before, so Arabic alphabet was replaced with Latin alphabet. and citizenship was defined by equality rather than faith. So sometimes people ask me, like even at my work, do you guys speak Arabic in Turkey? So no, we speak Turkish, and we have own alphabet, and it's in Latin. It's an alphabet. So for a long time, this secular foundation shaped everyday life in Turkey. Imperfect, maybe, yes, but rooted in the idea that belief should be a personal choice, not a social obligation. But over the past 20 years, however, this balance has gradually changed. Um, since 2002, under the rule of Justice and Development Party, AKP, religion has become more visible in public life, and social expectations around belief also have grown stronger. So, as a result, being openly non-religious has become increasingly difficult. So, I come from a very big family. Even though I just have one brother, I have so many cousins. My parents divorced when I was around 7 years old, and at the time my mother was working in Turkish Airlines as a flight attendant. Therefore, my me and my younger brother was raised by our grandparents, my maternal grandparents. But since my mother was working at Turkish Airlines, um, I was always flying with her too. So, like, I often away with her as well. So that's why I was fortunate to travel a lot. I have been in Tokyo, Beijing, Hong Kong, Cape Town, Chicago, New York, Rome, and some other countries that even I can't remember right now. Um, so I think those like early exposure to different cultures and religions sparked my curiosity, you know. And then my grandmother was a retired school teacher, and she was Muslim, of course, but she was secular also. She admired Atatürk as well, and actually, she taught me about Atatürk a lot when I was young. She also taught me about fairness, equality, and critical thinking. Um, she's a very educated person. She knows French, Turkish, English, Arabic. She was the also first person that bought me my Quran. She taught me like many prayers. I remember every night, like me, my brother, and she, before we sleep, like we would pray um, the new prayers that we um, knew, studied. First me, like three prayers, and then my brother would do three prayers. So yeah, she was the one taught me a lot about Quran and prayers. And then my grandfather, on the other hand, um, he was um, he was a very strict person. Um, he owned a small business. He greatly influenced my sense of discipline, responsibility, and work ethic. Um, right now, I also have a small business, and I learned so many things from him. he taught me like how to do business in a non-haram way. So like how to earn money without like in good faith, right? So like you shouldn't like scam people, like things like that, like business ethics, mostly in an Islamic way. And he was deeply religious, and he had very high expectations for Islam practices. So like during summer, uh, me and my brother would go to church, not church, mosque, to him. Like we would pray every Friday. Uh, we would like fast during Ramadan. Uh, we would go to those like animal places to buy the sacrifice of animal or eat. You know, actually, it's super traumatizing to see these animals cut, and then we would get meat, and we would give those meats to the people in need in our neighborhood. But yeah, as a child, I tried to follow his example and tried to meet those expectations as much as I could. Yeah. So, as I said before, I was born and raised in Başakşehir, Istanbul. It's one of the most socially conservative and religious neighborhoods in the city. But also, I want to say something clearly here. So, Turkey is still secular. Like, we don't have Sharia law in Turkey. And mostly it depends on where you live. It depends on the neighborhood. Like some neighborhoods it's going to be very conservative, some will be like secular. So the one that I was born and raised in, it was one of those most socially conservative and religious ones. So to give you guys an idea, like how that felt, like so there was a group, active group called Anadolu Gençlik. So in English, it's something like Youth of Anatolia, something like that. So they would put up billboards or hold small protests during Christmas and New Year, uh, not to celebrate. So one of those signs you see here, like on the left one, for example, it says on New Year's night, just sleep. And the other one on the right says, return to your roots, young Muslim. Celebrating Christmas is a Christian culture. So, I mean, again, to be clear, no one would put you in prison, like for putting up a Christmas tree in Başakşehir, but we are constantly reminded of what you should and shouldn't do in that neighborhood. What's considered acceptable or what would make you different. So, I mean, you can do it, but give it a try, right? So, yeah, these pictures always crack me up. So, also some things about dogs. Growing up, I was taught that dogs were impure. I heard things like, you know, don't touch dogs, don't let them inside the house. Otherwise, your prayers would not be accepted. But also, I want to make this clear. That one is not written in Quran. It's written in Hadiths. Hadiths is like the collections of sayings that were written down by scholars over centuries after the Prophet Muhammad's death. So, for example, in Sahih Muslim, the hadith saying that angels don't enter a house where there is a dog, or if dog leaves a container, it must be like washed multiple times. So, as a kid, I didn't really know the difference between the Quran and Hadith, so not honestly it didn't matter. So what mattered was like how these teachings shaped everyday life. So like loving a dog, letting a dog inside your home, treating a dog like family, were things that came with judgment and the sense of doing something wrong. So when you see these pictures, like my dog next to a Christmas tree, it may look simple or even funny to you guys, but for me, it represents something much bigger. I mean, I'm an atheist. I'm not Christian, but I just like to decorate. You know, giving small gifts to my wife or dressing my dog up. Here in Canada, I can do that easily, normally, without being judged, warned, or made to feel guilty, And it's a small freedom, but it's something I never really had before. And right now, like my dog, um, is my everything. So, um, I started questioning religion deeply during my high school years. Um, I asked a lot of questions in high school and got into trouble because of that. Because in Turkey, religion lessons are mandatory in high school. Also, I want to mention something. Until like a couple years back, when you born in Turkey, you get the ID, and on ID it states your religion, and it's automatically it's Islam. So it's like let's say you're 3 years old, your religion is already assigned to you at birth. So it's not something you really can choose, right? So I questioned so many things during high school, and then I got into trouble because of that. And eventually, I stopped attending to those mandatory religion lessons. So I also noticed something that I think when something or a system is very strict or built on fear and doesn't allow questioning, it doesn't stop doubts. Uh, it actually creates them. I mean, actually created for me at least. Um, I couldn't simply understand why good people um, just simply born into another belief system would be condemned despite living ethical lives. So, because of me not attending to those religion lessons in high school, um, the school called my grandmother actually. So she came to the school since she was also like retired school teacher. She came and smoothed things out. But that was the first time I had to tell one of my family members that why I'm feeling this way or I'm not religious. Um, so it was really tough. Rather than being surprised, she was super worried actually. Um, and then she told me like not to say these things openly, and not to act like this. So she told me to like be silent, stop like asking so many questions and things like that. Just because of my safety, I think. So I had to at someone that I am not really over the years, during like high school years, during like, university years. And after a while, it really makes a toll on you, just to pretend. Um, Even though I'm not I'm not have to pretend anymore, but still it's like those feelings still coming with me here. Like I still can feel that burden. It really takes a toll on me. So before I start this chapter, I want to say something clear. I'm not trying to attack Islam or judge those who believe it. I wanted to share my own questions and the moments where I personally struggled and realized I could no longer accept these teachings as moral or just. So again, this is about my journey, um, not about like criticism of others. All right, I want to be very clear on here. So these are some of the verses from Quran and the questions I asked in high school and still the questions I've been asking myself in social media. And because of these questions also, I'm still being attacked or attacked to authorities back in Turkey. And I wrote down the names of the verses as well, so I'm not making these up. Everyone can Google and find these verses. Also, I'm not a scholar, but these are my understandings when I read Quran many years ago, and still I'm understanding this way. So the first one is Surah Al-Imran, chapter 3, verse 85. So it says, whoever seeks a religion other than Islam, it will never be accepted from them. And in the hereafter, they will be among the losers. So why does belief matter more than goodness? So I met kind, honest, compassionate people from many religions, and some with no religion at all. Like I met very nice people in my group also. So, for example, a Buddhist, a Christian, or a Jewish person, or even an atheist can live ethically and can care deeply about others, right? So why would God judge people primarily on whether they accept Islam instead of judging them by how they live, how they treat others, and the values they follow? So as I told you guys before, I had been to places like Tokyo, Bangkok, and I saw so many people like living meaningful lives under completely different belief systems. So like that made me ask myself, will those people burn in hell simply because they weren't born Muslim? Right? So it didn't really sit well with me. And then second one, for example, Surah Al-Bayaniya, chapter 98, verse 6. Indeed, those who disbelieve are the birth of creatures. So, if God is all merciful and created all people, why would he call some of them the birth of creatures just because they believe differently? For example, if someone believes in Jesus, let's say, tries to be a good person, right? lives lives a kind and honest life while believing in the same God, same monotheistic God. Why would that alone make them deserving of punishment? So the answer I explained. Yeah, click next. So the next one is Surah Al-Infal, chapter 8, verse 12. I will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve. So strike above the necks and strike from them every fingertip. So if God knows everything, why design a system that leads to division, conflict, and violence? If early religions were altered, why would an all-powerful God allow that happen also? So in Islam, I was taught that it was the last religion because earlier scriptures were altered or corrupted. So, but if God is all-knowing, all-powerful, wouldn't he have known those texts would be changed? And if so, why allow a system that would lead to religious conflict, wars, and people killing one or another in his name? If the goal was guidance and peace, couldn't there have been a clearer, more humane way to deliver a message? Something maybe universal, undeniable, even unchangeable, like, I don't like in a mathematical form maybe, so that wouldn't divine humanity or cause so much suffering. The other one is Surah At-Talaq, chapter 65, verse 4. As of your woman past the age of menstruation, in case you don't know, their waiting period is 3 months. And those who haven't menstruated as well. As for those who are pregnant, their waiting period ends with delivery. So this one, it's about the rules of divorce and when you should do the divorce in Islam. So when it comes to kids, I have a soft spot. I don't approach this emotional to attack anyone, but because protecting children matters more to me than defining any tradition. So some scholars say that, in that era, women would mature differently than nowadays. And they would make comments regarding to that. But for me, how I think is, again, it's me thinking this way. For me, a child is a child, whether she lived 15 years ago or today. A 9-year-old, let's say, cannot defend herself in court, cannot reason like an adult, cannot solve complex math problems, or truly understand philosophy or literature. And I don't think she can make life-changing decisions based on free will. So for me, scholars saying that children matured earlier back then, for me at least, doesn't really hold up. Even if puberty starts early, that doesn't mean mental or emotional maturity. Because, I mean, physical changes are not the same as judgment or real choice. Again, at the end of the day, for me, a child is going to be a child. I have 3 more verses. Hopefully, I am not boring you guys. This one, it says, Surah Al-Asaf, chapter 32, verse 50. O Prophet, indeed we have made lawful to you your wives, to whom you have given their due compensation, and the daughters of your paternal uncles, and the daughters of your paternal aunts, and the daughters of your maternal uncles, and the daughters of your maternal aunts who engaged with you. So this one, it's the marriage rule for the Prophet Muhammad. So what it says basically is cousin marriage was allowed in Islam. And the second one is Surah An-Nisa chapter 4, verse 23. Prohibited to you are your mothers, your daughters, your sisters, your paternal aunts, your maternal aunts, your brother's daughters, your sister's daughters. So this one, it's again, you which kind of people you can't marry in Islam. It says so. It's for like regular people, like for us. So again, as we see here, general rule of marriage, we see that cousin marriage is not prohibited. It's not in the list. And then the third one is, I put that one there because I will make more comparison between the three. Surah An-Nahl, chapter 16, verse 115. He has only forbidden you dead meat and blood and the flesh of swine. So basically, it's pork is forbidden in Quran. So why I put these three verses there is, so again, I was told that the Quran is an often, like it's presented not just as a moral guide, but as something also close to a science book. They say like, the full of science, wisdom, and timeless knowledge in it. But when we look at the real world consequences, like for example, maybe Pakistan or and the Pakistani people that in UK, for example, we see real world consequences of cousins' marriage, right? But also, at the other hand, eating pork is strictly forbidden. Even today, like when it causes no unique harm or affects no one else. I mean, I eat pork twice a week at least, and I mean, I am doing fine. But at the same time, marriage between cousins is clearly allowed, despite the well-documented genetic risks. We see the consequence of this in societies where cousins' marriage is common, where children are born with serious health issues. So again, that raised the question for me and still raising it. Here, what is the child's fault, right? The child didn't choose the religion. The child didn't choose marriage customs, but they are the one paying the price anyway. And also, I ask myself something even harder. Is that also really the parents' fault? They followed what they were taught, right? They followed what the Quran allows. So, also another question follow-up. Why is eating bacon treated as a moral failure while it practiced with real measurable harms permitted? And if these rules are meant for all humanity, what would be the possible benefits of cousin marriage for people in developed countries, for example? So, I mean, after some point, I started questioning, are these even coming from all-loving, merciful, and powerful God, or coming from someone that wanted human needs like power, order, and control in that era? So, I studied economics at Istanbul Commerce University, and at that time, I kept my views mostly private because my grandmother was super worried about me. But on the other hand, politics gave me a space where I could still express the values I care about most, like secularism, freedom, equality, without like directly exposing my lack of religious belief. This isn't really the place to go into Turkish politics in detail. It would take like hours. It would be a different webinar. But I became involved with the Republican People's Party, CHP. It's the main opposition party. I mean, of course, like being a supporter in Başakşehir, like came with so many changes and incidents. But again, I stayed involved despite that. And even today, I remain a registered member in my country of the CHP party. So there's an event happened, like a protest in Turkey. So again, I want to be a little bit cautious here because this event, it's a still sensitive topic in Turkey. Even years later, people have been detained, investigated, or accused simply because their names were associated with these events. So now I'm gonna speak them publicly, but so I'm aware of that risk. But again, I have to talk about it because it's not just a political issue, and it's also a deeply human one. So what happened was the issue actually is straightforward one. There was a like big green space in the city. It's one of the last green space remaining, and it was going to be destroyed. So the plan was cut down all those beautiful trees and replace the park with a commercial development. And they were going to do that without a public consultation. So what happened was, at first, like a small group of people, like humanist people, initially gathered peacefully to protect the park and stop the trees from being removed. Like people were sitting, talking, sharing food. They opened up like some tents, um, you know, and they were just trying to protect the space that belonged to everyone. So, like at the beginning, the atmosphere like was super calm, entirely peaceful, and like everything has changed after the police response. Like tear gas, water cannons, like people, uh, gas canisters used. Even though the protest was like non-violent. So as images like and videos popped up, um, my after like 2 or 3 days after this happened, because it took days protest. My good friend of mine, I can't see his name. One of my good friend messaged me and he said like let's go. So we were there. And like thousands of people like gathered there in Taksim Square. It was loud, like it was like a war movie, you know. It was like awful, frightening, and also peaceful at the same time. And like those people that went to protest there, like they were like one of those most beautiful people like you can ever see, humanist people, like they helped each other. We brought like gas masks with us. We delivered them to the people. They gave us like water bottles and stuff. But the thing is, uh, the same government, AKP government, launched a smear campaign and labeled us and protesters as looters and terrorists. So anyone that's involved with that protest labeled as that, even to this day. But yeah, and during those events, thousands of people were detained. Luckily, we weren't. Were escaped. More than 8,000 people injured, and as far as I know, they really didn't share that specific number. But as far as I know, 8 people also were killed during that protest. Some of my friends from my university even detained and then released. So yeah, it was really crazy. Um, so there is an incident happened during Ramadan in 2015 that something that really stayed with me, and actually, like now I look back, that's the reason I'm here today. Um, so at the time I was working at my uncle's jewelry store in Başakşehir, in a shopping mall, during my first years of university. So it's shopping mall, like a very small shopping mall. It's not like Şunuk Mall here. Has like, I don't know, like maybe 10, 12 vendors. They have like market, realtor, a small bakery, and, stuff like that. So during my break, um, I was out from the store, and I just drank a water. Um, you know, I wasn't trying to make a statement or anything. Really, like I didn't think even twice about it. And then few shopkeepers saw me and started shouting at me, like like why I wasn't fasting, and they called me like disrespectful and accused me like I was insulting Islam. I didn't say anything at first. I was just kept my silence. But then they told like bad things about my mother. I insult my mother, and also in Islam religion, when you fast, you shouldn't like curse or anything. Otherwise, your fast would not be accepted. But I know, like um, for them, I think it really didn't matter. So when they insulted my mother, I confronted them, and then, as you can guess, the things got physical, and then of course I joined in, and then we had a fight, and I got really beaten up, like really well, in a public place. Right now, like I am like laughing, but it was really bad. Um, Actually, more than the beatings, the thing that really stuck with me and stayed with me is, and my uncle stepped out from the store. Instead of like defend me, he like sided against me, like saying, I had brought shame on him, like I was acting against religion, like I embraced family, and so on. So like after that, like we just got back into the store, and that was the time I told him how I feel about like religion, and how I felt about him, and like really I thought whatever I think at the time. Basically, it was like F you and then F your religion, and this is the religion, and if it does this to people, I want nothing to do with it. Um, and then I and I just left the store and I went to, back to home. And my own uncle, like old lady that likes gossip, he told what happened almost every one of my family members. So and next day my cousins showed up, um, same thing. Uh, like they accused me disrespect Islam. Um, they shouted like disgrace, like me, I was like worse than an enemy. Um, Again, we had a fight, and then so that part I really don't even care. You know what really I care about is my grandfather also knew what happened and told me that I wasn't his grandson anymore. Um, and he was like someone that like a father to me, you know. So that was the thing that really hurt me uh, after everything that happened. Um, so yeah, yeah, I'm sorry. So eventually he passed away, my grandfather. I was in the States, but at the time I was like super angry and sad at the same time. So I didn't even go to the funeral. So thinking back now, um, it's one of the things that still like right now I have regret, you know. Um, and now I really can't go back to Turkey, so maybe I can't even see his grave. Um, but yeah, that was really hard for me. And that's the another thing, you know, that's still I'm the same person, same me, nothing has changed. It's the only thing that they found out, you know, that I was just faithful, but everything has changed for my family and how they view me as a person. It's something that I really can't understand to this day. So, so after that, you know, I shut down emotionally. I really like stopped going out. I avoided seeing people. I even avoided my girlfriend. Right now, she's my wife. She's with me in Canada. But yeah, I lost motivation, hope, like sense of safety. So, and seeing how I was, my grandmother told me like she became more worried and like she super scared about my like mental and physical safety. So, she said, like, it's better for you to be Turkey. Like, maybe don't be here anymore. So they sent me to Belarus to study Russian language for a short um, language program. But the main idea was to send me to the States so that I would study there and then I would be away from all this nonsense. While I was in Belarus, we started my study permit application, and then once I back Turkey, and then after a couple of weeks, I went straight to California, study there to do my master's. Also, my brother followed me, which was really nice. So he didn't really want me to go there. He's also he's Muslim, but he's secular. But he always supports me, like my wife, and he's supporting me to this day. So I'm also very grateful for him having him by my side. So today, my life was very different. Sorry. So right now I work as a keyhole in a jewelry store here in Canada. So having a stable job and routine has helped me rebuild a sense of normalcy and dignity that I had lost for a long time. I also volunteer my time with Brown Begging for Calgary Kids. So it's where we help prepare and pack food for children in need. So we also have a small business, me and my wife, and we make small donations to the same charity, as well as Alberta Children's Hospital and Istanbul. Supporting children feels especially important to us because we believe they represent the future of society. Now we go home, and then, as you guys know, I'm also an active member of this group. I attend as much as I can monthly meetings, and that meetings really help me more than I can easily explain. For the first time, I can speak openly about the identity and doubt, maybe without fear. So being of this part of this community has given me a sense of belonging that I never really had back in Turkey. And because of everything I experienced earlier in life, I also receive psychological support. I see a psychotherapist twice a month. This has been an important part of my journey. Yeah, and it's also something that I couldn't safely access in Turkey because where even mental health services are often shaped by religious assumptions. At the same time, returning to Turkey has become even more dangerous for me. So since 2018, I never went back to Turkey. It's going to be almost 10 years. After all these years, I still kind of waited and thought that maybe things in Turkey would change people would change, the regime would change, you know. But after the arrest of the mayor of Istanbul, I really couldn't stay silent. I become more active on social media. I openly expressed my views, and as a result, my posts were reported and flagged to authorities so many times. And there is a high chance that if I'm forced to go back, um, I will be detained. Also, because of my humanist views, I'm also against going army. And in Turkey, it's mandatory. So everyone after certain age, not everyone, like male, you have to serve in the military. It's compulsory, and there is no such thing like I don't want to go to army, and it follows you forever. So there is also that. I don't even know how much in fine I have to pay, and how many months I have to stay in prison. Since I think 2020, I'm seen as a draft evader. So therefore, I applied for a refugee protection on September 2025, and currently I'm waiting for my trial in Canada. So, am I happy? I don't know if I would say like I am happy all the time, but I can definitely say that I am safe, I am free, and for the first time really in my life, I don't have to pretend to be someone I'm not. Um, Maybe just as important, I finally feel like I belong somewhere, you know. And for the first time, I'm not hiding, and I am not alone. And that's really for me, it's enough. Well, thank you so much, guys. That's the end of my presentation. It was long, uh, boring, and again, I'm really thankful that you guys stayed with me and heard my situation. Again, I'm really thankful to you guys. Thank you so much.
Wow. Berke, yeah, just wow. We've met several months ago, and I invited you to do this presentation, and yeah, and
Yeah,
thank you very much for sharing. It's amazing everything that
yeah,
you've been through. Yeah.
sure. It wasn't also, I really felt better because it's not really something that I talk about like every day, even as I mentioned, even with my wife, you know. So yeah, and thank you guys for really listening. It was hard for me, but also I felt better right now a little bit. So thank
Uh,
you.
yeah, Berke, yeah, you need to restart your video. I clicked wrong here.
Oh, sure, sure.
I was going to click one thing and I clicked another. Yeah, I want to spotlight you to it for everyone. And so anyone has questions for Berke? I don't think everyone met him before. I'm sure that Vincent and Jim and James, Brent, I think met him before. Yes,
Yeah,
Jim.
I have. Jim, you're muted.
Right. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure that if somebody else would have. Two questions that came to my mind during that, and that I still remember. One was about that thing about the waiting period. I think you said something about divorce. It didn't get quite clear to me what the waiting period was about in that questions that came to your mind that caused doubts about
Oh,
Islam.
oh yeah. So mostly I started like questioning my own religion during my high school years.
Mhm.
Um, I that was the time I really like read Quran uh, thoroughly
Yeah,
and in my own language
yeah,
because how it is in Turkey is at least
yeah,
it was for me is we mostly memorize
yeah,
Quran and the
yeah,
verses in Arabic without really knowing what does it say there. So
yeah,
it was kind of the those years
yeah,
where
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
started
yeah,
questioning.
yeah. It's just that it said something about a waiting period, and then, but like maybe there was a previous verse that made it clear what the waiting period was for.
Uh, Waiting period is like where I start questioning religion or
Yeah. Okay. Okay. In you had four. Uh.
I think it was that
Har
slide where you have four
and
topics about the Quran.
oh yeah, yeah. Let me
yes.
yeah,
And
yeah,
one of
sorry
them
about that. I
mentions
sure sure.
Yeah. It meant
waiting period.
something about a waiting period, and it.
Oh, I see. So sorry, I just
Yeah.
sorry, now I got the question.
Yeah.
Let me uh share my screen really
Yeah.
quick.
Something about the women and
Sure. Oh
under.
yeah, 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 yeah. Sure. Um, sure.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, it just wasn't clear to me what the women had to wait for in these periods.
Oh, so for the it's the for the
Right.
divorce
So,
period. Uh-huh.
yeah. So that's the man has to wait X months if
Yes,
before he can divorce. Yeah.
yes, exactly. It's the
Yeah. Yeah.
this one, the Surah At-Talaq. Yeah, check this the five verse four.
Yeah.
The 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 thing that bothered me here is there is also a like saying in there that it says and those who haven't menstruated as well.
Yeah.
So with
Oh,
that saying, child marriage
yeah.
is normalized.
Yes. Okay.
That's yeah, uh-huh. That's the one that
Yeah,
bothers me.
and those who have not menstruated as well. So that implies that that a guy could be marry a girl who has not yet menstruated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So again,
Okay.
I'm not a scholar, but when we again look at the world and look at some countries that where Islam is dominant religion, and we see these examples
Yeah.
so many times. And then again, some scholars makes a comment on that as well. They say, like in that era, um, like girl mature differently as of like them today. But then again, uh, for me,
Yeah.
a child is a child for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
I mean, again,
yeah. And my
that's my
understanding is sorry. Oh, sorry. And my understanding is that a first pregnancy is more likely to go badly wrong if it's before maybe about 18. So having a first pregnancy before the woman has stopped growing is a bad idea.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah, yeah. And the other one that came to my mind was what was the protests about this park. So, so it was getting turned into some commercial thing, and it just sort of immediately makes me think there's some corruption going on, that somebody's getting special favors to be allowed to put their commercial development on this park. Uh, did you ever find out who was getting the kickbacks? Or
So, I like it's very political,
yes.
but it's it's like corruption
Mm.
everywhere. Turkey. Uh, I mean, really, I really don't really want to comment on this, but yeah, it's because of corruption. It's
Yeah.
like very big part of it, you know.
Yeah.
And the part of that protest started because of that. Like there is also like political side of it, but I really didn't want to
Yeah.
and don't want to really tell you guys about that. There's like Turkish politics, but also there is humanist side as well. There were also so many people get it because all those beautiful trees were gonna
Yeah.
cut down
Yeah.
just because of the commercial space. And also the other thing, the government didn't really ask about our opinions, like would it be really nice idea to cut down all those trees and make that
Yeah.
area like commercial area or not? They just
Yeah.
wanted to do that. So that's why it was a very um, peaceful protest,
Yeah.
So many humanist people, like, and I like, yeah, the government labeled us for terrorists, and there is a Turkish term, çapulcu. It means like looters. So even today, like a couple years after, even when I post something on social media, they ask me instantly, you were in that protest, right? Even though the topic was different to what I am posting. So like the government kind of labeled us. It's like it's interesting too. And those guys and us, we were like so far being a terrorist, like
Okay. Just like the protesters against ICE, or maybe, yeah, maybe it's not quite.
so Turkey. Yeah, it's so right now, for example, like we all know, right, what's going on in Iran.
Yeah.
So I have a lady that works with me in my store. She's from Iran, and she asked me like, oh, like why Turkey doesn't allow protest for Iran, right? And I also didn't know that. And I checked, yeah, Turkey. So Turkey doesn't allow people to protest for Iran, for example. No, yeah. Oh, also another example. It's like in a way it's super funny and super weird. So after the mayor of Istanbul got arrested, there were so many protests that Turkish people did in Toronto. So I saw on the news there was a Turkish guy with a work permit. So he was protesting there for the army. And I think his face was, of course, visible. And then I don't know, he was seen somewhere, I think. And the Turkish consulate banned his Turkish passport. I mean, he can't even protest in Canada, let alone Turkey. Like, how crazy is that, right? So, yeah, that's really something. Um, yeah.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, Turkey, again, secular, but also past 23 years, it became very strict, and you can't really question some stuff in Turkey, you know, especially government.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Any other question? No, okay, so while you guys think, I have just a few more slides to end here, and then we can have a continuation of the Q&A after them. Okay, so I believe everybody is seeing it. To contact Burke, I have here his email, and I'll add his email to the video description as well, so you don't need to worry in writing it down right now. For our next event, we will have a presentation about humanism and science fiction, ethics without divine authority, with Dr. Alan Kozlov. And I think it's going to be very interesting as well, February 25th at 7 p.m. Oh, and we have in May our conference. So let's just show you a quick video about the conference. Oh, I don't know if I had the audio ready. Do I have the audio? Yes, I believe you guys will hear.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Yes, this one is going to be very good. And our website is WeCanReason.com. Oops, just presented this. I don't need this again. Come on. So, well, help us spread the word. We have two websites, as you guys all know, Rocky Mountain Atheist and WeCanReason.com. We have social media in both of them. I always remember that We Can Reason is less atheistic. So if you want to share content and you don't want to focus on atheism, We Can Reason has several options for you to do it. And of course, we have our conference this year, so it's even more reason to share. Please remember to donate or be a member. You can find in both our websites the links to do that. We also have a Facebook group. It's growing slowly, but it's growing, and it's nice seeing people there. And you can always share your posts on our group. And of course, subscribe to our emails. Both sites have their links to subscribe. We don't send that many emails. It's basically 2 per week, one for each of our sites, and just so you know what's going on. And we have our own newsletter, of course. That's once a month. And our Skeptics in the Pub every third Friday, 7 p.m. New location, Limerick's traditional public house on MacLeod Trail, 7304 MacLeod Trail. Burke, it was fantastic. Anyone wants to ask a question? Any comments? No? Burke, once again, thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Okay, it's a privilege to meet you. And we found out how great you are from the start. And I think we all were right about it. Thank you very much for
Thank
for
you,
being.
thank you, Julia, really for making this happen too.
Yeah, and whatever we can do to help you, please let us know, and we'll do our best.
Thank you again. I
Yes.
told this 100 times, but again, thank you, each one of you, for tonight, for
Yeah,
meeting.
please don't be a stranger. Bye, everybody. Have
you
a
so
great
much.
week, and hope to see you all at the We Can Reason. Don't forget.
Okay. Bye. Thanks, Bert.
Bye.